Hello children, today we will start the chapter 7 of your syllabus and the second chapter of biology, that is control and coordination. As we have discussed certain life processes in our previous chapter, on those life processes we discussed a life process named as movements. The organisms which are alive is measured by a life process named as movement. Whether the organism, which is a living one, showing a certain movement or not. So movements are a very essential life process which is used as a characteristic to differentiate between a living organism and non-living organism. If just something is moving, that means it is considered as living, and if something is not moving, it is not considered as living. But that is not true in a whole. अगर कोई चीज चल रही है तो हम उसे लिविंग कहते हैं, कोई चीज नहीं चल रही तो उसे लिविंग नहीं मानते, लेकिन ऐसा सच नहीं है. That is not the truth. The movement is not the only factor which differentiates between living and non-living thing. Then, regarding the movements, you must have seen the different kind of movements. For example, germination of a seed. That is also a kind of movement in itself. Next, rather than this, germination of seeds, rather than this, swinging of a child on a string. Buffalo moves its mouth up and down. During chewing. A cat is moving. Cat is running. These are also certain kind of movements. What is the difference between this movement and all these? This movement is a growth movement. Germination of seed is represented by the growth of various structures out of the seed, which later on convert into a plant. सीड जब जर्मिनेट हो रहा है तो सीड जर्मिनेट होकर एक प्लांट बन रहा है बच्चों, और वो जो पार्ट्स उससे निकल रहे हैं दे कीप ऑन मूविंग. So it is a growth movement, but all these movements are not growth movements. These are non-growth movements. Now the question arises, why these movements or why these visible movements are necessary? Why such visible movements are necessary for living organism? Germination of seed is necessary so that the seed can become a plantlet, and that plantlet will later on grows into a complete plant, into a new plant. Swinging of child on a swing is necessary, so for the recreation purpose. The child is swinging on a swing for the recreation purpose, for the entertainment purpose. Buffalo chews its food so that it can be digested easily. Cat is running. Maybe cat has seen a mouse, or there must be another reason that cat has seen certain predator of itself. That's why it keeps on running. Predator means the other animal which is going to eat the cat, like dogs. The dogs used to eat the cat, so whenever they saw the dogs, they do not stand there, they used to run. Or maybe the cat have seen certain mouse is its food, so for the food as well as to prevent itself from being a food, the cat starts running. There may be a reason, there is an uncertainty in that. So these are the kind of movements which are shown by the various organisms. And why are these necessary, bache? Because these movements are the result of a certain environmental change. So, the next thing which comes into this chapter, and the first definition of your syllabus, is stimuli. Its singular is stimulus. What is the stimuli or stimulus? Any environmental change which brings about a response, which brings about a change in the body, which results in the response by the body parts, is known as stimulus or stimuli. Any environmental change which brings about a change in the movement of or a change in the body of a living organism is known as stimulus. So, in the response of stimulus, there is always a certain movement, and that kind of change in the living organism body is known as response. So, there are two terms. One is stimuli, that is the environmental change, and to that environmental change, response of the body is there, always there. So these are the two terms, stimuli and response. Now we will discuss the term control, which the name of your chapter is. What is control? Control is a power to restrain or regulate. It's not one and the same thing. Some process or certain processes in our body, their startup, their stop, and their process speed or process rate is all included in this term. So it is a power of restrain or regulate the processes to start, to stop, or to wrap it up or to slow it down. That process, that power of a body, the power of a living organism's body to do all these things is known as control. So it is the power of restrain or to regulate the various activity or various processes, and that is referred as control. The next term is coordination. What is coordination? It is the orderly arrangement or orderly and harmonious arrangement of various organs to work up together to give a particular response to a stimuli, to an environmental change is known as coordination. So it is a orderly or the harmonious relationship between the different organs, between the different parts, so that they can work together to perform a particular function is known as coordination. The example of coordination is, for example, we are eating food. During eating, that is known as ingestion, our nose gives us the smell of it. Gives the idea of smell of food. Obviously, at the time of ingestion, we can smell the food, smell the various aromas which is coming out of the food. At the same time, we are watching it, obviously. We watch the food. At the same time, we can hear the sounds. While ingestion, our ears don't stop work. They keep on working. Next, by the help of hands, we pick it and place it in our mouth. So all those activities are done together to perform ingestion. So these all coordinating activities are referred in one term, and that is known as coordination. Now we discuss first coordination in plants. Animals have two kinds of coordinating systems. One is hormonal system and another one is nervous system. But plants do not possess a nervous system. They are devoid of nervous tissue. They do not have a well-defined nervous system. They only coordinate by the help of chemicals. So that means they only kind one type of coordination, and that is chemical coordination. Next thing, the response in the plants is very slow. It is not immediate. The responses of the plant movements are quite slow. They cannot be visualized easily. As these growth movements are very slow movements, so they cannot be visualized very easily. there are certain regions in the plants on the basis of stimuli and response. One is perceptive region. The plants respond to various stimuli, various environmental changes like light, water, next bache, chemicals, touch. So these are certain environmental changes or stimuli to which a plant responds. The region of the plant which receive those stimuli, those environmental changes are known as perceptive regions. So the region of the plant which receives the stimuli is known as perceptive region. वो रीजन बच्चे जिस पर एक स्टिमुलाई आएगा, जिस पर एक एनवायरमेंटल चेंज महसूस किया जाएगा प्लांट के द्वारा, उसे हम क्या बोलते हैं? परसेप्टिव रीजन. द नेक्स्ट इज रिस्पॉन्सिव रीजन. What is the responsive region? The region of the plant where the response has been given, from where the movement is shown by the plant, is known as responsive region. So the response or the region which shows any movement to a stimuli, that kind of region is known as responsive region. तो दो रीजन हो गए बच्चे, एक परसेप्टिव रीजन जिस पर स्टिमुलाई आएगा और दूसरा रिस्पॉन्सिव रीजन जो स्टिमुलाई के अगेंस्ट एक रिस्पॉन्स देगा. नाउ वी डिस्कस बच्चे द वेरियस रिस्पॉन्सेस which shows the plant movement, that is the growth. Basically बच्चे the plant movements are of two types. One is growth movements, the movements in which growth of a part takes place, and other ones are non-growth movements. This is a difference, very important one for your board exam, that we will discuss after all the activities of the plants. So there are two kind of movements in plants. One is growth movements in which the growth of the part takes place, and another one is non-growth movement where no growth takes place. That movement is due to the turgor pressure difference. So there are two kind of movements. One is growth and another one is non-growth. We'll discuss only growth movements here in this topic. How those growth movements are to be judged. How we can evaluate those growth movements. There are certain processes by which we can say that plant growth is done or not. The first is cell division. Obviously cell division means the number of cells keeps on increasing. If number of cells keeps on increasing, that means plant growth is there. Next, cell elongation. Elongation means increase in the volume of the cell. Third, cell differentiation. What is cell differentiation? Various cells choose their functions, differentiated. They vary according to their respective functions on the basis of their size, structure and shape is known as cell differentiation. So when cells become tissues differentiated to perform their various functions in the form of organs and so on. That is the complexity of organization. So the third growth feature is cell differentiation. Rather than these, there are certain other movements like seed dormancy. There are two things in that now. One is promotion of seed dormancy and other one is breaking of seed dormancy. First, what is seed dormancy? Dormancy is a time period for which a seed became inactive. The embryo of the seed does not divide. As we all are aware, and here we will discuss that also in a chapter of your 10th class, how do organisms reproduce, how a seed formed, what is contained in a seed. Seed is basically contained a certain multicellular structure known as embryo. This embryo will later on grows into a complete plant. But at the time of dormancy, the seed's embryo will not divide. The seed's embryo will become inactive and the cell division stops. That period for which the seed embryo or the seed itself become inactive, it's not dead, it is inactive, that time period is known as dormant period or dormant state. And this phenomena is known as seed dormancy. So some chemicals promote the seed dormancy, that the seed will remain in the dormant state, and some break it. They'll break the seed dormancy so that seed can quickly be grown into a plantlet, or you can say a new plant. Next, stomatal opening. That is also controlled by certain chemicals. Stomatal opening is not a part of growth movement, it is a non-growth movement. Stomatal opening is a non-growth movement. In this, no growth whatsoever takes place. Next, senescence. That includes wilting of leaves, wilting and shredding of leaves. So that is also controlled by certain hormones, and this is also not a growth movement. It's basically, in fact, it is a growth inhibitor movement. In this, growth stops. So these are kind of processes by which we can analyze the plant growth, and these are the certain functions which are performed by the various chemicals present in the plants, and by those chemicals the plants will show their coordination activities. So the plants do not have a nervous system. Plants only possess a chemical coordination system, about which we are going to discuss now. And those chemicals are known as phytohormones. Phyto means plants. So these are also known as plant hormones. Now what are these, bache? These are the chemicals which are produced in the plants other than the diffusible nutrients. These are not the nutrients. Nutrients is a totally different term. These are the chemicals which are produced in the plants and control their activities, control their movements, control their responses to the environmental changes known as stimuli, are referred as plant hormones. So what are these? These are the chemicals other than diffusible nutrients, produced in the various parts of the plant for response to the stimuli or to the environmental changes, is known as, or are known as, phytohormones. We'll discuss about 5 main phytohormones. The first one is auxin. The second one, gibberellins. Third, cytokinins. The fourth one is abscisic acid. And the fifth is ethylene. Ethylene is the only gaseous hormone present in the plants. Auxin, gibberellin and cytokinins, they are the growth promoters. Growth promoters means they promote the growth. They enhance the growth by the various processes which we had discussed earlier. Abscisic acid is a growth inhibitor. It stops the growth. And ethylene is a growth inhibitor as well as growth promoter. It promotes the growth as well as inhibit the some part, as well as stops. Inhibition means to stop something. So these are the plant hormones which we have to discuss in detail now.